And clearly, whatever disease that monkey gave to Randy Quaid through that bite on his ass ended up settling into his brain over the next 20 years. Jesse Shade here from Awfully Good Movies on behalf of the JoBlo YouTube network. And back in the December of 2003, when NBC was airing the Christmas comedy classic sequel, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, they had scheduled afterwards the world premiere broadcast of its newly produced sequel.
On NBC, it's the world premiere of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie.
And that announcer completely ignoring the island adventure part of the title is a sign of bad things to come, as the focus has gone from Clark Griswold to his redneck cousin Eddie, as he goes on his own family misadventure during the holidays out in the South Pacific, with the late great Fred Willard and Ed Asner out embarrassing each other for a paycheck. And the absence of John Hughes' screenwriting genius could not be more felt in what is still perhaps the worst movie that I have seen in my entire 10 years of bad movie reviews. A sequel no one was asking for what was already itself a sequel to a classic movie comedy. And yet somehow not even the worst movie out there to carry the once respected name of National Lampoon.
Aren't you gonna put me to sleep first?
Now let us head back to Christmas of 2019 when I treated Cousin Eddie's Christmas adventure like the worm-headed sack of monkey shit it is in this Tylenol-taking episode of Awfully Good Movies. Well, my friends, I can think of no better way to close out the first decade of Awfully Good Movies on YouTube than by once again celebrating the holly jolly holiday of Christmas. A time where we can all put aside our petty differences and forget our real-life troubles so that we can decorate trees, give each other presents, and renew a feeling of joy and wonder in our otherwise cynical hearts. Or else Arnold Schwarzenegger will beat your ass down with a large plastic candy cane.
Where's your Christmas spirit?
But this year's Christmas holiday also happens to be a very important milestone for a beloved holiday film, as 2019 marks the 30th anniversary of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. 6 years after screenwriter John Hughes and director Harold Ramis teamed up to introduce the Griswold family to America, and 4 years after Amy Heckerling's underwhelming follow-up, Hughes returned to the Vacation franchise to write its Christmas-themed third installment in 1989, which would come to be embraced by audiences as a perennial Christmas favorite that continues to be quoted and merchandised up to this very day. And although the Vacation franchise would continue on without the National Lampoon label with far less success, that did not stop Matty Simmons, the producer of the first 3 Vacations, from giving us another Christmas Vacation in this franchise, when he wrote and executive produced the 2003 made-for-TV follow-up, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure. Yes, since Chevy Chase was too dignified to return to the TV screen after the national nightmare known as the Chevy Chase Show, this new Christmas-themed vacation would focus not on Clark Griswold, but rather his sleazy redneck cousin-in-law, Eddie Johnson.
Eddie?
With the role once again played by Academy Award nominee / former SNL cast member / certified crazy pants, Randy Quaid.
Eddie?
After all, Eddie was responsible for many of the funniest moments in that first Christmas Vacation, and with the sequel airing on NBC a mere 5 days before Christmas, then perhaps his Island Adventure would become another beloved holiday favorite in the Vacation series. But seeing as this film is rated at a whopping 2.5 stars across all of its streaming platforms, I think it's safe to say that did not happen. Still, I do love rewatching that first Christmas Vacation around the holiday season, so I shall unwrap this failed follow-up to find out why it is seen as the worst film in the Vacation series. Plus, we can have an answer to the biggest question on our minds. Will this movie be a worse made-for-TV sequel to a classic Christmas comedy written by John Hughes than Home Alone 4 Burning Down the House or whatever it was called? Well, not to spoil my review so soon, but yes, it most certainly will be far worse.
Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
But first, let us find our Christmas spirit by filling our moose mugs with alcoholic spirits, as we fill up our shitters after rocking around the awfully good drinking game. First off, you know that we're in trouble when our film opens in a suburban neighborhood in Chicago, Illinois, which is obviously a Warner Brothers backlot that's been doused in fake snow.
Merry Christmas!
as we are introduced to yet another one of Cousin Eddie's 6 children, played here by Lizzie McGuire's little brother, Jake Thomas, who goes by the unusual name of Third.
I was named after my mom's cousin's husband, Clark Griswold II. I'm the third Clark Griswold.
So yes, we technically do have a Clark Griswold in this movie's cast, even if he isn't the Clark Griswold.
What's your dad do?
He works in nuclear research.
He's a nuclear scientist?
Not exactly.
We cut over to our title character, Cousin Eddie, who is now providing money for his family by working down at the Atomic Testing Agency, where his brainwaves are monitored alongside the brainwaves of a chimpanzee named Roy, as Professor Fred Willard observes Eddie and the chimp alongside the guy who voices Squidward Tentacles.
The chimpanzee appears to be winning. How is this possible?
Because the monkey is smarter.
Yes, thank you, Fred Willard, for explaining the obvious joke that Eddie is stupider than the chimp, because the filmmakers clearly think that the audience watching this movie is dumber than the both of them. The professor tells Eddie that the government is cutting costs at the testing agency, which means that Eddie has to be let go while Roy the chimp gets to keep his job.
Well, why don't you fire him? I mean, what has he got that I ain't got?
His brainwaves register more distinctly than yours.
Which one's mine?
The one labeled Eddie.
Again, because he less smart than Monkey. Do you get the joke yet? And in addition to losing his job at Christmas time, it turns out that Eddie and his wife Catherine, played here yet again by Miriam Flynn, have lost the RV which they were living in back in Vegas Vacation.
I love that RV.
With the two of them living with their son Third in the home of Eddie's grown-up niece, Audrey Griswold, who is played here not by Juliette Lewis, but rather the original Audrey from the very first Vacation movie 20 years ago, Dana Barron.
I'm gonna kill myself. Merry Christmas!
Well, judging by that threat of suicide, I'm guessing either Audrey Griswold has broken up with her latest boyfriend, or that Dana Barron has realized she's the only member of the original Griswold family who has agreed to be in this shitty sequel.
Could you imagine something that terrible happening right before Christmas?
And after Eddie and his family spend that night fighting against the broken plumbing in Audrey's bathtub, because of course this movie would be so lazy as to steal a gag from Ernest Goes to School, Eddie comes by the agency the next day so that he can beg Fred Willard to fire the chimpanzee instead of him.
He ain't that smart.
And Roy the chimp gets his revenge on Eddie with a bite to his ass. Ladies and gentlemen, Randy Quaid's Cum Face, now available as a commemorative plate, which is the perfect gift for the holidays. So as Eddie is treated for his monkey bite by Dr. Flounder from Animal House, the nuclear agency decides to prevent Eddie from suing them for damages by offering him and his family an all-expenses-paid Christmas vacation to the South Pacific island of Molucca, which is good news not just for Eddie's family and the recently heartbroken Audrey Griswold, but also for Eddie's recently arrived Uncle Nick, played by the one and only Ed Asner.
Merry Christmas. I came here to die.
Who's also had a recent breakup from his wife, Jessica.
Aunt Jessica ran off with the Christmas tree delivery man?
The 28-year-old delivery man.
I didn't know they delivered.
I didn't think grandmothers thought about sex and stuff like that. Apparently the thought entered her mind.
You suck!
So now the entire Johnson clan is off to finally have themselves a Griswold-style family vacation, with their dog Snots coming along to provide some bottom-barrel fart jokes.
He's never flown before.
So bad.
And who should they run into at the airport but a cameo from a returning cast member from a previous Vacation movie?
Are you all right?
Eric Idle, reprising his role as the accident-prone Englishman who kept getting injured by the Griswolds in European Vacation, and is now being injured by their cousin Eddie.
No hard feelings?
No feelings whatsoever.
He's all right. He's English.
Wow, how clever of the filmmakers to cross over the worlds of Christmas Vacation and European Vacation to help establish the Vacation cinematic universe. Just wait until you see how they bring back Wallace Shawn's villainous blackjack dealer from Vegas Vacation. The Johnsons finally arrive on the island of Molucca and are greeted at the airport by their native tour guide.
I'm Muka Laka Mickey, Mr. Johnson.
Well, nice to meet you, Muka Leka Hickey.
These ribs are great, Muka Cookie.
I thought your name was Molucca. Luca Malarkey Ricky.
And in spite of this so-called island clearly being the same soundstage they shot the Chicago scenes on, Mooka and the Johnson family are off to charter a boat so that they can tour the surrounding islands.
Eddie, get out and cast off.
Oh boy, I can already tell that Eddie's gonna get pulled by that rope and go for an impromptu water skiing ride, just like that classic John Hughes comedy, The Great Outdoors. Oh wait, what the hell? That's the best joke that you've got? Oh no, we left behind Eddie. Guess we'll have to just turn around and pick him up. That wasn't a joke. That was a minor inconvenience. Thankfully, the plot starts to get going after Eddie nabs his fishing reel on a large shark who drags their boat across the ocean, or rather the badly photoshopped cutout of their boat. And when Uncle Nick drives the boat forward to shake the shark off of Eddie's reel, he ends up crashing the boat into a rock. And the Johnson family is forced to ditch the shipwrecked boat to swim for the shore of a nearby badly CGI'd island.
Look! The boat's drifting away!
Did anyone anchor the boat?
And make sure you take a shot every time this movie cuts to black for a commercial break, because with any luck, you might end up blacking out yourself before this movie's over. So if anybody's familiar with the history of National Lampoon magazine and how it helped introduce some of the greatest comedic writers and performers of the 20th century, you may remember Matty Simmons as one of the magazine's founders who took over as its editor-in-chief in 1985, which is part of the reason why the Lampoon stopped producing classic comedies like Animal House and Vacation, and started producing crappy comedies like Senior Trip, Gold Diggers, Pledge This, the list goes on and on. And while it's bad enough that the writer of Vacation and Christmas Vacation has been replaced here with the writer of Baby Huey's Great Easter Adventure, it's even worse that the Cousin Eddie character has lost any semblance of charm or relatability that he had in the original movies, and fully turned into a Larry the Cable Guy level cartoon caricature of a dumb redneck, with Randy Quaid either shamelessly mugging his dumb face for the camera or sticking out his equally dumb ass. And once he and his family wash up on this island, it feels more like you're watching a really bad Gilligan's Island reboot than a sequel to one of the greatest Christmas comedies ever made, even as the central plot thread revolves around the family trying to hold a Christmas celebration in spite of being stranded on the desert island.
We could still have Christmas. We can have an island Christmas. Let's think of something we can all give to each other.
We could get a house, Eddie.
Where are we gonna get a house?
We could build it with our hands.
If you build it, they will come.
Well, yes, this movie is a lot like Field of Dreams, but if Kevin Costner was replaced in the lead role by a batshit insane conspiracy theorist who these days looks like Alan Moore's hillbilly clone. As for the rest of Eddie's family, the only two people who make any sort of impression are Dana Barron and Ed Asner. You can tell that Barron is trying to make the best out of reprising the role of Audrey, even with a script that gives her nothing to work with. And Ed Asner provides the closest thing this movie has to a laugh, simply because of how clearly he does not give a shit.
Who's Daniel? Oh, never mind. I don't care. I don't like Christmas when it snows. It's too sentimental.
It's hard to believe that poor Ed did this dog shit in the same year he played Santa Claus in a classic Christmas comedy. And yet here he is playing a boozy, creepy uncle whose biggest running joke is perving out on Mooka the bikini-clad tour guide.
Cut my hand. I don't know how.
I bit it.
You want to rethink your sign, buddy? How about a full body massage?
Ew, this is far less heartwarming than that other movie where Ed Asner was stranded on an island with a young Asian American. Oh, how I wish that Clark Griswold's dad was here to go squirrel hunting with Doug the talking dog.
Squirrel!
As for our barely existent plot, the Johnson family does end up having themselves a fairly good island Christmas, as Eddie ends up bumbling from a tree and spearing a wild boar in the head that serves as the roast beast, while he and his son finish building the family's new household. But after they christen their new house by swinging a coconut at it, that's when their Christmas celebration ends up falling apart. Literally.
Well, we've learned something here today. We definitely have to make it more secure.
And I've also learned something here today. We do not need to make any more goddamn Vacation sequels. But after Eddie falls into a dream sequence where he envisions himself and his wife as Tarzan and Jane, sure, because it's not like there were any recently released desert island movies you could have fucking parodied instead, that's when the Johnson family is finally saved by an approaching seaplane that's piloted by Melbourne Jack Maltby, an Australian entrepreneur who was introduced earlier in the film as owning a hotel on a nearby island. which the Johnson family just happens to have been shipwrecked on.
I was just flying over to check out a hotel I own on the other side of the island when I was already out there on the cliff. Well, it's only 10 miles. You could have walked to my hotel.
Still, you do have to admit this is a better twist ending than the series finale of Lost. And though you'd assume this is finally where our film starts coming to its merciful end, this is where Eddie ends up dropping a rock on Melbourne Jack's foot and he falls off the edge of a cliff. And though Jack claims he's perfectly okay to fly the Johnsons off the island, he ends up succumbing to a concussion while the plane's up in the air. And now it's up to Eddie to land the plane.
Merry Christmas. Can you fly a plane? I'll take that as a no.
We're gonna die.
For fuck's sake, we were so close to finally wrapping this shit up, and now out of nowhere we're doing this cliched gotta land the plane trope, which we've seen in a million other movies already.
Striker, you're coming in too fast.
Oh no!
Up, pull up, now! Left rudder!
Now what we're gonna do, you're gonna turn the wheel slowly to the left.
When I tell you to, I want you to pull it halfway out.
No, the throttle.
No, Andy! Andy, no!
He's coming right at us!
Dear God, this is the closest thing in this movie which lives up to the title, Island Adventure, and we're not even on the island anymore! How could this movie get any worse? Take a look around, you viewers! We're at the threshold of hell! And speaking of quotes from the first Christmas Vacation...
Bingo.
Oh, you can kiss my ass, movie. Kiss my ass, kiss her ass, kiss Ed Asner's ass, kiss Randy Quaid's ass, kiss the ass of John Hughes' rotting corpse, and happy motherfucking Hanukkah.
Oy vey.
And with the Johnsons finally off the island, we get a last-minute cameo from Ed Asner's previously mentioned wife, Aunt Jessica, played by Beverly Garland of My Three Sons fame in her final on-screen role.
Aunt Jessica, you didn't, did you?
Don't ask.
It's incredible that this woman did 4 movies which were directed by Roger Corman, and yet it's this movie that's the worst thing she ever appeared in. Oh, and also Fred Willard comes back to offer Cousin Eddie his job back, while Roy the Chimp takes a vacation. But it turns out that Eddie already has a new job, as an airplane pilot!
Well, Roy, looks like this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Wow, how ballsy of them to end on a quote from one of the greatest movies ever made, in what might be the worst movie I have yet seen for this show. I salute you, Christmas Vacation 2. You have finally broken my holiday spirit.
Play ball!
To add insult to injury, this movie feels so unrelated to the first Christmas Vacation that they keep dropping the phrase Merry Christmas over and over in the dialogue to make up for the lack of holiday-related humor, to the point that they have a montage of it in the DVD's special features.
Merry Christmas.
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 Merry Christmas. Dinner was full.
But with or without the Christmas-related angle, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure is a transparently cynical and desperately unfunny attempt to drain a little more money out of this beloved comedy franchise without the help of John Hughes or Chevy Chase. And while Christmas Vacation will continue to be a heartfelt and hilarious tradition for many more Christmases to come, Christmas Vacation 2 is good for nothing more than serving as fuel for the Yule log. But still, as downhill as Randy Quaid's life may have gone after doing this movie, at least he can be glad he didn't have to make a cameo in that shitty Vacation reboot. And on the nudity watch, this TV movie does manage to show off quite a bit of Audrey Griswold and Mooka the tour guide wearing some revealing swimsuits through most of the film, along with a scene where Third accidentally comes across Mooka bathing herself in a nearby river.
Oh my God!
Yes! Yes!
Yes!
But what's this? It turns out that Ed Asner is also peeping on this girl's bath, as if this movie hasn't ruined Ed Asner's good name enough. And by the way, we are now selling Ed Asner's cum-face commemorative plates as part of a special Christmas offer with the Randy Quaid commemorative plate. So order yours today!
That's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
On On the enjoyableness continuum scale from Bull to Bruce, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure, manages to be worse than you'd expect from the same studio that shat out A Christmas Story 2, A Dennis the Menace Christmas, and Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. And seeing as I'm giving this movie my first ever 0 rating, I would like to introduce a brand new rating for the show, which I will give to any movies that don't even chart on the enjoyableness continuum scale, that I would like to call the Loquisha.
You love with Loquisha. What's your problem?
Congratulations, movie. Now take that Christmas bonus and go build yourself a swimming pool. And may Rick Dalton come to your swimming pool with his holly jolly flamethrower and roast you alive in the flames of hell.com. And I would genuinely like to thank every single viewer out there who has kept Awfully Good Movies going for these past 5 years. Here's hoping that I get to make you laugh plenty more in the new decade to come. So may you all have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go empty out my shitter. Oh, god damn it, you bastard! Why won't you stay down? Why don't you stay down?
Christmas vacation. You're so glad it's Christmas vacation.
When you get to be my age, a good dump is one of the great pleasures in life.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.